where I'm gonna pull up an old game and then go through play by play a lot more in depth than I get to when I'm actually playing. Will they make POIs anymore like slightly OP? Well, they did that with Verdansk, and I don't know how well it worked out for, I mean, Verdansk was awesome, but obviously as far as landing spot goes, I prefer this spot. I land here 95% of the time in solos just because I loot, what, 2 buildings? That one right there, these 2 close to each other, and I have like 30k every single time. As far as first zone goes, I would much prefer, as you guys know, not to be in gunfights the entire time. I mean, if you're working on your gun skill, go for it. Like when I played PUBG, I literally landed hot every single time for like the first couple weeks just to try to learn looting and shooting under pressure. But once you're comfortable enough with your gun skill and you want to start working on winning, definitely a spot where kind of like a route. Destiny was something that helped a ton with that, where you're just basically speed running a route. I mean, I take the exact same route in this building every single time, and that comes from Destiny 100%. Land here, cut angles, most efficient way to get your 30k, and then book it to a buy station before we can rotate from there. It honestly might be a better idea in the future, like somebody said earlier, I forget who, to throw the deployable buy above a window and have it drop in and then throw the loadout in the exact same spot. So I'm second story. Only downside would be if there is somebody up top TV, you're gonna have to deal with them regardless. I'd rather deal with them when they were up there than if they were on top of my building. It could drop in from 3 or 4 different spots. So no clue where that guy came from, but I hit him with enough shots. We'll take it. I did check like top TV multiple times throughout just because that's really the only spot you're weak from. Somebody could climb up that far ladder, but I've not had it happen yet. So as soon as that happens, I feel like nobody like really utilizes that back ladder. Somebody's climbed up this one today and I killed him on it, but the back one, like I said, it's never happened, so it's not really a concern. Until it happens, then I'll throw it into the rotation of things that I check. How do I decide where to rotate from? I mean, there we go. Right now it's just the path of least resistance. Flight path was on the west side of the map. So the chances of somebody being on this far east side is very, very low. I most likely would have either seen them in the air or if there was like a stronghold out this direction, that would increase it more, but it would also tell me if somebody is in that vicinity, if the stronghold is capped or something like that. So I'm just working towards the I love the redeploy balloons in this. They're pretty safe for rotates most of the time. I have a few places that I like to take these redeploy balloons to where I can rotate. Usually it's high ground or another redeploy balloon, but like I said, this is just path of least resistance basically. I'm most likely going to go top red or to PD are the 2 spots that I take this balloon to pretty much every single time. Top the red cylinder, I mean.
Oh, 14 grand.
So I start with both armor and muni. That's the goal. That's the goal. I would like to have 2 and 2, ideally.
I got a family to take care of, dude.
I'd like to,
spend money.
I'd like to have 2 and 2, ideally, with maybe a UA just in case, golden gas mask, maybe a couple things of plates and another streak. I guess I just said screw it this time. I'm guessing the flight path must have been really, really far west. So somebody being over here, not very likely. And I believe I drop in and pop a UA or just keep on to going. Yeah, I stop and get a UA, especially because it's unused. If it was used, I probably would have just kept going. Proximity do more damage than clays. No, I believe they do the exact same amount, but clays, they buffed proxies from Warzone 1. Before, spawn protection, dude. And I would have killed them if I waited a quarter of a second, but before you used to be able to lay down and negate like 90% of the bounce or prox mine damage. Now that's no longer the case. It does the almost full damage in the sphere, so that's a huge buff for them.
Yeah, tons of money there. I was honestly impressed.
Clays are very glitchy as well. Shooting at this guy right here, I needed to hit that shot. Now I can't really push up towards him. Yeah, gotta back up. Just so there's no hard cover, I'd be pushing into nothingness. Got to think that there is the guy behind me as well. He was a Gary, so Lodi has not dropped yet. So unless he found a good crate, he's with ground loot and probably not working towards me yet because I hit him out of the air with a snipe, I'd assume. So that was not, I don't even think that was him. Completely separate guy. Ready for it though. Kind of good timing on my part there. I guess I'll take that COD timing in my favor. Half a second later, I would have probably not heard him, and I turned the corner and he runs after me. So right now, one guy up top, not peeking me, but probably trying to get a different angle, and we have two guys over to my left. I'm assuming 2 minimum. Okay. Now I gotta add, that's another skin. So we had the ghillie, then we had shaded skin, and now we have a Tim the Tap Man. So we're still at 2 behind, 1 in front. Play the odds, play the odds. I was just looking at the most obvious spots that he would peek. That house seems to be the best just because you're not standing on the edge of a cliff when you're up there from his perspective, just looking down, and somebody can sneak up behind you and just fry you with no hard cover. So most likely if somebody is peeking, it's from that spot. I was dealing with stream snipers, so instead of trying to get up the hill, I think that either it was the guy up the hill that was stream sniping, he would have known where I was going. So I said, screw it. Awesome. I wasn't expecting that. Not sure how I didn't die either, but we'll take it. Hard cover. He could have beaten me to really any spot on that side, or cut me off and put me in a bad position. So I would, anytime that I can play distance, I'm going to, if I have a sniper in my hand. Just because I don't believe that they are going to be able to shoot me with an AR from 150 meters away, and all I got to do is hit one shot. I'll take those odds all day long, no matter who it's against. How patterned are the zones? They're not super patterned. Usually if I see a zone, I have an idea of where I want to go, a couple different spots, right when I see zone 1.
By the way, how many? Over, under,
2.
2.
2 is the answer. But yeah, I have a couple different spots that I'm trying to get to. Basically just power positions, similar to Warzone 1. You know, we would go top prison if it was anywhere near, or that port building, or Millie Fave, depending on zone. It's a similar thing, but the power positions are not near as strong. So what's almost more important in this is the ability to rotate out of it, rather than just how strong the building actually is, because there's, like I said, there's not really crazy power positions in this game. So I went 2 and 2 with boxes in this one, as somebody asked earlier. I think 2 and 2 is probably the play. That way you always have about 6 plates, and you shouldn't be putting yourself in spots where you're going to need more than 6 plates for a gunfight and not be able to throw down another armor box. And if you kill somebody that pushes you, they most likely have a ton of plates anyway. Yeah, kind of cush. What do we see with that? So right there, I would imagine I'm trying to go to that center Seraph Bay building, where earlier today I got killed after I landed on the guy, killed him, and then jumped off. There's another guy sitting right there, if you were there for that game.
Who runs an RPG, dude? That dude was just...
Somebody said RPG meta earlier. It makes me worried if they're going to bring it back, but as long as you run, what is it? The anti-explosive damage perk, then I think you're fine. Consider playing CS? Nah, not really. I'm good, dude. Don't understand stream snipers. They're just looking for attention. Just looking for attention. Probably pretty lonely as well. So they tune into stream. They get attention from me getting upset at them, and that makes them feel accepted. Who knows? Some other stuff going on, I'm sure. Agreed, Bad Brown Snake. This is definitely a place where more hard cover is needed. I think you'll see here I throw a muni to get more smokes.
I don't like running around without smoke, so I'm gonna do this.
No, like if you're in a spot where you could just get completely fried from either side, you need to be able to smoke instantly. So if you're running around with no smokes or ready to throw as soon as you get shot the first time, I mean, you're just kind of asking to die. At almost all times you need smokes. I would imagine throughout an entire day of gaming, I'm talking about the guy who RPG'd. I assume that he was rapping along with me right there. And when I went across the bridge, that pretty much cut off anybody that would be on the left side rotating. They're either in front of me or over to the right, like cut in. I mean, there could obviously be somebody in airport, but that's why I took the bridge, not trying to run through airport. And like I said, I'm assuming that the guy with the RPG is running parallel with me, trying to look for me most likely. With as far as pivot off where I'm gonna land, I needed to hit that. There we go. As far as pivot off where I'm gonna land, like, I don't think that you really need to with deployable balloons. As long as you land close to one, you're totally fine. I was right about the Tim the Tap Man though. Like I said, I assumed he was rotating parallel with me. There he is. Just trying to, that's really the most predictable thing he could have done, is he's assuming that I'm in the water and I'm following the coast all the way, which is pretty much what I did. But I kind of like baited him into putting himself in a bad spot by, instead of running through that city back there, like keeping space. That's why, like I said, instead of running through the city building to building, I kept space with smokes ready. So for him to find me, he had to run all the way through the city, and I have 50 meters on either side of where I can see everything. Much preferred rotation. I can't stand rotating through cities. I rarely ever do it unless I absolutely have to, because there can be somebody in every single one of these buildings. I assume there's somebody in every single one. I must have riot shield. Run. Can't stand riot shields, dude. High ground and peace, most likely. I don't usually like to fight riot shields until it's end game, or I'm trying to get an advantage to where they can't really do anything about it. Like high ground like this would be the only way that I'll try to fight a riot shield. Late game, I'm trying to pick up Semtexes and Thermites or pre-airstrike them or something. But if I see a riot shield mid game, I'm just going to keep on moving. Munitions are more important than armor box and solos for the smokes. I would say they're both equally important. It depends on how many fights you're getting into as well, but yeah, you definitely need to make sure you always have smokes and you never run out of them. Also, if you're going to play power positions like I like to, then you need to make sure that you always have proximity mines. At this point, as far as like where people are and thinking about it, obviously there's going to be people pretty much everywhere at this point. I don't have a ton of information on where everybody is. This guy got absolutely worked. I'll finish my point in a little bit. This was one of the stream snipers, by the way. One stream sniper down, and then checking to see if the riot shield's pushing, which most likely he would. I'll just keep moving just in case he peeks and stuns me or something. I believe I have battle hardened, but I guess as far as where I'm assuming people are, just listening for shots, I know that the riot shield is back there. I heard fighting up to my left here, and there has to be somebody rotating out of airport. But usually if they rotate out of airport, it's not high hill. They like to wrap near that castle side, just because there's so much more room there, a lot more freedom. Popped a UA, nobody here. Doesn't really mean much though. 2 prox mines. I'll probably throw one here in a little bit, another one up top, and then get ready with a muni. I believe that would be my second one. Running low on plates as well, so I'll probably throw both here. Maybe wait till the prox explodes, or I have to move. That would be the only reason why I would not throw a muni here. There we go. There's the thermite for the riot shield later. Screw him. So I guess waiting on that muni is probably smart, because if I have to rotate out in the middle of the open, no point in restocking proxes. Kind of looks like it, huh? Prox over clays, they got buffed from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2, where you can't like just lay down under a prox and get rid of most of their damage now. What is that, dude? Yeah, screw that riot shield, man. I don't know how in the world he just jumped, because I don't think his powers were in the game. Maybe they were.
Come on.
Those were 2 people in there, yeah. So that was not the riot shield that was behind me, so I'm still assuming that there's another riot shield behind me. And as far as in front of me, usually a lot of the people in this area like to stick on the right side of the street. There are sometimes people in here trying to like, well, I guess before there were probably people in here trying to camp the buy or get people rotating into the buy, but since they moved it, I don't think I've ever fought somebody here since they've moved it. Thought process on the exact places I throw prox mines, good question. I want it in a place where they're not going to see it beforehand, and they have to like come around a corner to, number 1, blow up the prox and give me shots on them. So I'm trying to like, heck yeah, tempered. I'm trying to have those two things be the case. If I hear somebody coming and I know they're going to round a corner on a stairwell, I don't want it to be far enough out from the wall. Like, if like, let's say you're going around a stairwell and here's the wall. If you put it out in front, right where they're going to go, they can see it, stop, shoot it. I want them to have to turn the corner, it blow up, and me shoot them at the same time. That's kind of the goal with prox mines. It also has to be far enough down or below you to where you have enough of a notification that they're there to not get surprised. Like sometimes prox mines won't do enough damage, or sometimes they just won't do any damage, and then the person just flies around the corner and smokes you. So it needs to be far enough down to where even if it doesn't do any damage or they see it and explode it, you still know now, and you can just still hold the stairs or throw another prox.
Come on.
Being in that spot that I was is strong only if the 2 or 3 like higher buildings are out. If they're all in, you got to get out of there. There's no point in staying because you can just get fried, and you can't really crouch peek anymore unless they're awful, and then they can just easily jump on you. Tough zone pull over and over and over, which is why I chose this one. That was close. Crossbow, dude. I got to get past this guy and most likely just hold that little 1-story shack. I got to assume there's going to be 3 or 4 people rotated in from the right. That riot shield is going to hold off. If I don't kill him, he's going to hold off pretty much everybody on that. Everybody past him. I'm assuming there's only going to be 1 person that makes it out past the riot shield that I'm going to have to deal with going into the next zone. There's going to be 3 or 4 people on my right, just to guess. Could be more, could be less. That's probability wise what it's going to be, and I would say I'm gonna have to deal with 1 or 2 when the zone closes, and now I just need to make sure that I clear behind me so I have an idea when I rotate in of everybody that's around me. Like I said, we have 2 people behind me. I'm gonna try to push both of them far so they are the one that has to deal with the riot shield, and then as soon as that city is being forced out, then I can turn around and figure out what's going on there and try to pay attention to where the riot shield goes, but assuming that he's not going to wrap towards me, because there'd be no point, you know. There's nothing in zone towards me except that 1 little story shack, but he might as well go on that far side. So just probability, assuming he has to go far side. Like I said, now it's time to check right. Peek the riot shield real quick, switch to thermites. Didn't push toward me like I assumed. And now we check city. Try to get high ground on it, and then I assumed there was going to be 1 or 2, is what I said. There's 1. Not sure where though. So it looks like, unless there's one that's rotating low behind me, which that's why I threw the procs, then now I have info on where that guy is. There's that guy at that 1-story, procs behind me to watch that, and the riot shielder is not in front of me here, so I assume he went all the way around that far side. He's either in that little shack in front of me or on the far side of that little island / tree. Obviously, I say a guy up there. We're too early right now to start counting as far as where everybody is. I only know where 3 of the remaining 11 are, so I'm not even paying attention to that. I'm just trying to pay attention to my little corner of the circle and where I have to rotate into. Right shield, far side of the island. The guy in the blue house, which I believe he already repped far right side. There could have been somebody in the little shack, but there wasn't.
Wow, I did not know about that jump.
I was just going to say that. And now it's just high ground, trying to peek, get any sort of information. We know that that dude was there. I'm not sure how that was not a hit. Now I just need info. I doubt I'm going to play that 2-story. I don't know what's going on in there, and I don't really want to find out. This guy gave away his position, so I know that it was either him or the riot shield that lived, and it's either he's most likely going to die to the guy up top, so I wasn't too worried about him. I streaked just to make sure that he didn't push over to me. This is basically just me buying time to take care of this guy or the guy underneath, like down to the left. If I don't cluster or don't smoke, then those guys have an easy shot on me if they just peek that 2nd-story door. So yes, I could have probably used the cluster at a potentially better time, but no, and I needed to take care of this guy. I'm clearing out a side. Now is the time where you got to clear out a side or a quarter of the zone in solos and wedge yourself into one of the final zones. You're not going to control the entire circle unless you get every single zone pull on high ground. So right here, I've taken my side. That guy went all the way around. I'll meet him up top. I already know that. He went all the way around and will most likely run into somebody on that far side with 6 others up. So I don't think that I'll have to worry about him right away. Now I need to go back and clear the 1 guy or 2 guys that would push towards me from this 2-story. I'm sitting on this little rock because if I get shot from the right, I can just jump over and LOS them being on this high side of the hill. If I get shot from the left, I can just jump down. So no matter which side I get shot from, I should be good. Every 5-10 seconds, my head is usually on a swivel, checking up top as well. Peek, peek, peek. Get that guy down. Nice shot. Since I'm focused on these guys, I decided to make sure that top hill could not see me. So I LOS using the rock. Now I can just fully focus on these guys. Hope that audio works from high left. Like I said, I assume he is probably dealing with somebody on that far side or just sitting up there laying down most likely. So we have only 2 up. We have a guy, like I said, I assume it was the guy that was in the tower that jumped all the way around. He's got to be on the far side of that rock. It's the only place that he can be. And then the other guy's probably laying in a bush on the far side of the zone. See the gas pull? Heck yeah, I'll take it. I'm just trying to get into a spot where I can see everything. I knew he had to rotate this direction, so easy shot. Saw the guy here and just hit a banger. GG's.
I'm coming for you, dude.
Talking to the stream sniper, talking trash. There we go. But that is what BR Uni stands for. That'll be the first installment on YouTube. Should be up within the next couple days of me breaking down really in depth of why I am where I am, why I'm focusing where I am. Just the little teeny tiny things do make a big difference. Like I said, being right on the edge of that rock, being ready to jump down from either side. Clustering and smoking the 2-story to completely not have to worry about getting pushed so I can take care of that left side, and that is the play that pretty much won me the game. So you could say, hey, you clustered a house, didn't get any kill, you could have used it later. Yes, but that play won me the game even though the cluster did absolutely nothing kill wise.